Healing isn't just about what's happened in your mind, but it's also how your body has experienced it. And if we are disconnected from our body due to our traumatic experiences, it can definitely impact the quality of our relationship with ourselves and with others. And so what happens when you experience that traumatic event that happened, it creates a separation from your mind and your body, because your mind, what it's always trying to do is protect you, and sometimes it does not work in your favor. And that's why we can't just do mindset work. We need to be focusing on what's happened within our body, how to move the trauma out of our body, but also feel the emotions that came up for us. And so when that separation happens with the mind and body, we become out of sync, okay? So our hearts, our bodies, our mind, they're all in different places. And the work that I do really helps you to get all of those things in sync, because you deserve to be living a life of alignment. And oftentimes, and I speak from experience, and there's no shame in this, but oftentimes if you've gone through traumatic experiences, you will often feel like you're out of alignment, and it's because you've left your body at that exact experience. And if you're someone who continues to have these traumatic experiences, because what happens, and this is very statistic based, is that people who have gone through abuse tend to go through it more than once. It's not just a one-time experience. And so to start the syncing process, we need to find the root cause of where this out of alignment, this misalignment comes from. And most likely it comes from childhood, it comes from past relationships, because these two things shape the way that we feel about ourselves. And what I really love doing with my clients is, yes, we need to come to that root cause, but we also need to learn how to shape our own experiences and how we're perceiving it, and understand why we perceive things the way that we do, why we absorb things the way that we do, why we think the way that we do, because it can be very confusing, especially if you have a clouded mind, and that happens when you've undergone immense trauma. And so once we have learned all these things around how we perceive ourselves and where the root cause is, we can begin to have compassion and understanding for why we show up in life the way that we do, okay? Because in order to heal, we need to have compassion for ourselves. How many of us have these intrusive thoughts about like how unworthy we are, or the way that we look, that we're not satisfied with it, or that we're not worthy of receiving? All of these thoughts are very normal because of programming and experiences that you've gone through. But it doesn't have to be like this for the rest of your life if you decide that you want things to be different. And it takes initiative, it takes effort, it takes the willingness and devotion, because going through this work, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not easy, but I can tell you that it is worth it. So if you're someone who's new to healing, or even if you've started healing already, I want you to reflect on these. Literally, they're beginner questions, okay? And I want you to reflect on the way that you feel about yourself, okay? So how are you perceiving yourself? What do you feel you're worthy of? What are you tolerating right now in your life? And when I say tolerating, I really just want you to get really honest with yourself. And you can get honest with yourself from a place of compassion, okay? And we have to get really honest with ourselves if we want to see change in our life. Because if we don't, then we're just going to keep going in these cycles, right? And having compassion does not mean that we are quote unquote making excuses for ourselves. Having compassion means having understanding, but also having self-accountability and having self-discipline, because self-discipline is an act of self-respect. So once you've gotten clear about, your self-image, your self-concept, I want you to go back, okay, and really think about the first time that you ever felt like this. And I can guarantee you it's somewhere in your childhood, okay? I don't want you to minimize this experience, because a lot of people can say, oh my gosh, like that happened so long ago, like why are you still dwelling on it? Well, the reason why we dwell on a lot of things is because it hasn't been resolved, it hasn't been healed. What happens is at these times when things are said to us or done to us, we stay stuck in that moment, and that stuckness lives in our body. It lives deeply in our body. Our body always remembers, it does not forget. But we get to recalibrate our body, we get to recalibrate our minds by diving into these wounds, feeling it, moving it through our body, and then being able to build a different foundation, a more desirable foundation for us. So you might be wondering, like, how do I build this new foundation after everything that's been done to me, or like everything that I've experienced? Well, I want you to focus on understanding yourself better, okay? Really diving deep into these questions, and the foundation that you want to create, the desirable foundation, you're going to build that slowly. You're going to start to get more clear on what it is that you want, the direction that you want to move forward in. What does that look like? What does it feel like? And then you start to take aligned action. But I want you to have patience with yourself. Have patience with where you're at and full acceptance of yourself through your growth journey. Because it's not linear. Trust me, like, I know a lot of people admire me for my healing process, but I also still go through it. And that's just me being real and transparent, because we're all human beings. None of us are perfect. None of us have it figured out either, by the way.